guys, my name is Nuhu. I'm an actor, producer, director, writer, and a dancer. I'm happy to let you know that I'll be the next cover star for the UncutXtra magazine. That's the 16th edition.
Welcome everyone. We are recording from London. I'd like to introduce you to Nuhu. Welcome to London. How are you finding it so far?
Very well.
Yeah, good. Nuhu is actor, producer, and dancer, and recently announced as the managing director of the Nigerian Film Corporation.
Of course.
How does that feel?
It feels great, you know, even though it's, I never expected it, just came, and I must say that sometimes some responsibilities come and you have to show that. So this is one of such.
That's great. Congratulations. It's a big achievement, and we look forward to seeing what's coming. Let's start with 1999. You've just finished university and you made your debut in the Hausa movie industry, famously known as Kannywood. And the film was Abin Sirine.
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, I was excited when the project came because I have had the passion for being an actor all the while, and this friend of mine was willing to produce a film, so he approached me. The story idea actually is mine, and I was the producer of the project. So I linked him up with the director, someone I've known for a long time. He happens to be the best director at then in northern Nigeria, the late Tijani Ibrahim. That's how we struck a chord and we went on sets. Funny enough, I played a dual role in the movie. Yeah. Yes, a negative and a positive role. Yeah.
What was your key learning from that role specifically? You just made your debut. What were the key learnings there?
The thing, well, I'll say that, you know, that was the first time I was taking a lead role, and I had to learn so many things while I was on set. You know, I was together with veterans like Bashir Nayaya, Hajara Usman, Isa Beluja. These people are people that have been there since the 70s. So they had to put me through some of the ethics. You know, I was new. I didn't know so much. Aside that, I must say, even how to speak the language itself, Hausa. The day-to-day way you speak Hausa is quite different from when you're broadcasting or featuring in a movie. So sometimes I say some things wrongly and they correct me, and that's it. It was fun.
Good. That's really great to hear. And you've roughly been in about 500 movies. How many of those have you been in versus directed?
I have directed about 30 something out of all those that I featured in. So yeah, you know, it's usually a very huge task when I'm acting and directing. So I try to stay away as an actor when I'm directing. And most people keep asking me, some of the movies you're producing under your company, why don't you take the lead role? And I go like, God, it's not easy managing both roles, you know, as an actor and as a director. You know?
That's very interesting. So almost finding a balance between when you should do what in the scene that you're in or in the set that you're on.
Of course.
Interesting. What aligned the most out of the 500 movies, and some of them that you've directed and some of them that you've been in? What aligned with you the most in terms of stories you want to tell?
When I started out, it was all about, you know, love stories, family drama. I was more into that. But gradually, evolving as an actor, I realized that we have a huge responsibility on us. So I just felt we're supposed to play a major role when it comes to, you know, telling stories of our people, talking about social issues in the society, and I changed focus. You know, I started concentrating on such kind of scripts, you know, scripts to do with drug abuse, rape, poverty, you know, those things, you know, people go through in day-to-day life and activities. Yeah.
That's really impressive, also bringing those stories up to life and really making sure that they're seen and heard in the movies that you do and in the films that you direct. That's really great to hear. As you're in the industry more and more, and as you're directing more and more, what are the constant learning that you're getting from being both a director and an actor?
You see, first of all, having this balance, knowing when I'm an actor and when I'm a director. That's one thing that I had to, it was very difficult for me to, understand.
Yeah.
But with time, I gradually understood that. Now, secondly, as an actor, that commitment, being a part of a project, having that project like your baby. In some cases, you get to meet actors that they just come on set, shoot, and they leave. They're not concerned. And there are situations whereby, as an actor, you need to sacrifice a lot, go to that, extent of making yourself uncomfortable. For instance, you're shooting a scene and the condition is not favorable. Maybe the setting, they need to take some time to do all that.
Yeah.
Some actors will be in a rush. They just want to get done with this and leave. But I believe as an actor, you should be patient enough, to understand what the production is going through and just have create time for them to do that. Aside that, on your own as an actor, when you get a role, you should work on the role, the character you're playing, get to know what is the journey of the character, what is expected of the character. Probably there are some tips you need to learn from someone that you see that the person is similar to that character you're playing in real life. So that's an assignment you need to do on your own as an actor. These are learning processes. Then as a director, learning how to be patient with everybody on set. Sometimes I get very edgy, when actors or crew members do some things and I shout. But at a point, I realized that, no, I shouldn't treat this person in this manner. And, that's one thing I battled with for so long a time and was able to adapt later.
And it doesn't stop, does it, learning? There's always something new,
of course,
to keep up with. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Amina, which was launched on Netflix a couple of years ago. You played Danjuma in Amina. Can you tell us a little bit about that story and what you loved so much about that and what you liked about your character?
Okay. Yeah, first of all, talking about Amina remains one of the very precious projects that are close to my heart because the director, Izu Ojukwu, actually gave me my break in Nollywood with a movie, Sitanda, in the year 2006. So when he came calling and said he wants me on this project, I was excited, we're getting to work. Izu is one director that you won't ignore if he brings the script to you. And secondly, the producer happens to be the father when it comes to the home video boom, because his first movie, Living in Bondage, that's the original version of Living in Bondage, brought that boom in home video business. So when I found out that he was the producer, I was equally excited and said, fine, let's get working. And thirdly, Amina is a biopic of one of the emperors, the only female emperor we've ever had in northern Nigeria. She was a great person. People get to hear her stories. And I said, this is something I want to relent on doing. Because Amina is one person that was into, women empowerment as far back as those years, even before it became a topic globally. So I felt I have to do this one.
Impressive. As the managing director in the Nigerian Film Corporation, what are your main key roles in the movie industry, but also in the community?
Well, the main mandate of the Film Corporation is one, film development, secondly, capacity building for the industry and upcoming talents that are interested in coming into the industry. That's why we have an institute, the Nigerian Film Institute. The Nigerian Film Institute happens to be about the best film institute in the whole of Africa. Yeah. And most of the alumni from the Film Institute are really doing great. We have a lot of names that are, you can see their projects on Amazon Prime, Netflix, Showmax. You go to the cinemas in West Africa and you get to see their movies. So the Institute plays a major role in development in the industry. So what we're trying to look at is, first of all, giving our movies that global reach, because people talk about Nigeria a lot of times when it comes to movie making. But then when you go for the major film festivals, except for a couple, you hardly see, Nigeria being represented. So we're hoping to do that through the cooperation. Secondly, talking about capacity building, you see the industry is so large in the sense that, Nigeria has a diverse culture, tradition, religion, and way of living. So you have different film practitioners in different regions of the country. For instance, the north, the southeast, the southwest. So we're trying to bring everybody on board, just so people come to tell their stories, in the best way that they can. We're going to engage a lot of filmmakers, do a lot of capacity building exercise, just so they come up and meet up with the elite filmmakers that we have in Lagos. When you go to Lagos, it's the center. So you have, the very good filmmakers who have access to almost everything, funds, the equipment, the studios, and everything. So we're trying to do that for the entire industry, just to carry everybody along.
That's really interesting. Very good to hear as well. And we've touched on Nollywood, and we've briefly spoken a little bit about Kannywood and the Hausa movie makers having Kannywood as the brand name. Tell us a little bit more about that difference in those two.
Okay, well, I'll say that the difference is one, the culture is due to the culture, tradition, the values of the people, of the different, geopolitical regions. That's one. Secondly, I think for Kannywood, the market stretches out from northern Nigeria to the route of the sub-Saharan trade. That's the region that stretches from Niger, Sudan, Libya, up until we get to places like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. So the market doesn't really depend on southern Nigeria. It depends on this region I've just mentioned. We have about 80 million Hausa speakers across Africa, and that's the audience for the Hausa movies. And that is why it's called Kannywood, because the center is in Kano. Meanwhile, when you talk about Nollywood per se, the southern films, their market is equally very different. So I think that's a major dichotomy that the two industries.
It's very interesting to see that there's a difference, but also a cadence to the different tribes, the different cultures, the different backgrounds. So it's not just Nollywood as such, but that we can diversify that. When we're talking about willing investors in the north, specifically, who executively produce Kannywood movies, or individual producers, do they self-fund the movies, or do we have a range of investors who are ready to fund?
You see, the filmmakers on their own self-fund the projects, because we don't get to find willing investors. And that's because most of the times when you get to approach people you feel can invest in the industry, they tell you they need figures. They need to know the structure, they need to know the figures, the return on investment, the possibility of getting profit and all. And there's no such figure. So I think one of the areas where the Nigerian Film Corporation is trying to delve into, not just for Kannywood, but for the entire industry, is to be able to have this database where filmmakers can have access to, such kind of records when they need them.
Interesting. I want to talk a little bit about places that you've traveled to, and of all the places that you've traveled to, where was some of the most interesting sets?
Well, you see, first of all, there's the United Kingdom. Yeah, I like the United Kingdom because it's my holiday spots, my major holiday spots. That's where I like to come. I just have this, peace, and I get myself together whenever I come to the UK. Secondly, Saudi Arabia, yes. Saudi Arabia, for religious reasons, I go there to pray, and especially Medina. When you go to that city, you have that serenity, you have that peace, and you try to be yourself.
Yeah. And going back to places where you find peace and creativity, and knowing that you're very passionate about what you do, how do you find that balance between work and family?
I like this. You see, finding a balance between work and family. I usually take time out, to travel with my family sometimes. I've been to a couple of countries. I've been to the UAE, I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to the UK with my family, so they can get to see me and have me for some time. And even in between productions, I try to do that, especially when the productions are out of station, out of Kano, because Kano is my base. So immediately I'm done with the production, I take like time out, 5 days, 1 week, to be with the family before I go on another project. Yeah, that's necessary.
Yeah, it's good having that family time and making sure you balance that out also for yourself. It seems like you find a lot of peace in your family, and that's beautiful to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
And when it comes to other interests outside the movie industry or film industry, what other interests do you have?
Aside filmmaking, my other area of interest is fashion design. I run a boutique in Kano, and it's really doing well. I hope to roll out my official brand, soon.
Okay, so great to hear. And I want to end with, if you could give any advice to people who want to become either an actor or a director, what is the advice you would give them?
First of all, I need to make them understand that in the Nigerian system, one needs to be very patient. The system works. It might take a while, but then definitely it will work if at all you're consistent, you're patient, you have that perseverance, because you need all these things. It's not an industry where you just come in today and tomorrow you're a millionaire. For some people, that's what they expect. I come in today and tomorrow I'm a millionaire. You need to work hard, So they have to be patient, they have to be consistent.
Absolutely, consistency is key in the industry. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming and for doing the interview, and we really loved hearing from you and learning about you. So really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.